So, Father Maher, thank you so much for being with us today. You are the president of Niagara University, and you've been there for going on 9 years. And we've had the pleasure of working with you for 5 of those years. It's been a lot of interesting ups and downs and a lot of productive work. So the purpose today is to gain your perspective on your institution, on our partnership over those 5 years. It is our 30th anniversary, and we have asked a very small number of our best relationships to comment on some of this stuff. So thank you for participating. Let me just start with a couple of questions. First of all, you've been there, as I say, for almost 9 years. You're going on your 9th year. What has been the most rewarding thing about leading this institution?
Yeah, well, thanks, Steve, and great to be with you and to work with your team. I kind of highlight 3 things, that one is I've been in higher education a little over 30 years. I had 23 years at St. John's University in Queens, New York, and just over 8 here at Niagara. And, one of the things that's incredibly rewarding is in higher ed is working with young people and really seeing them come in as transfers, freshmen, or as graduate students, but their development and particularly in an undergraduate population, you get to see not only students finish and graduate and go into the world, but flourish, really develop. And being a part of that development is a privilege, really, and a blessing. And that's incredibly rewarding. A unique part of Niagara's experience is the city of Niagara Falls, which is really world renowned, and that's one of the things when I first started traveling 8 years ago and recruiting international students from Southeast Asia, they didn't really know Niagara University, but they knew Niagara Falls. And but the city is really mired, in significant poverty, which is rooted, in historical corruption and chemical spills and sort of a lack of, for plain terms, a lack of imagination. And so to really begin to see that start to evolve now and develop and gain ground with Mayor Restaino and the city and the state and our nonprofit partners and business, it is really, it's a unique niche for Niagara. So we have a wonderful opportunity to really exercise our Catholic and Vincentian mission in our partnership and being able to elevate and work with others to respond to poverty and misery and human suffering right in our midst, and almost a mission laboratory, that really presents a great opportunity. And I think the third element that's pretty fascinating about Niagara is, our first president, Father Lynch, in 1856, became the first Catholic Archbishop of Toronto. And we have right now, 5 to 6 programs running in our campus site in Vaughan, city of Vaughan, just outside of Toronto. And so we're binational. And it's a really fascinating, to have, you can look across, and see Canada, but it's an incredible dimension, of the life of the university to be able to say you're binational in your origins and in your academic programs and life. So I kind of identify those 3 things as, some of the compelling parts of the university that are very exciting for me and for others.
The advancement environment that we've worked together on and that you've seen change over the years, course of your 30 years, how have you seen advancement change specifically? And a second part of that is we've been very fortunate, as you well know, at Niagara to enjoy leadership from some folks, some alums, some not. But how would you reflect on the importance of leadership related to advancement?
Well, it's interesting. I was at a program a few years ago at the Commission on Independent Colleges and Universities in New York State, which we're a member of in Albany. And one of the presenters was from the Inside Higher Ed. So that, they're really on top of, kind of what's happening in higher education in the United States. And so, the question you posed was really posed to this presenter. what do you think's changed in higher ed? And higher ed is under stress, right? As an industry, right? He was asked, what do you think's different? And he said, when I first started in higher ed, and it was really around the time I started at St. John's in 1990, he said, when you were asked, how do you know you're good? You could answer, because we know. And you would cite your alumni. We have this famous alum, we have this accomplished alum, which is still, colleges and universities do that, but that no longer suffices, now. And really what it's really shifted to in higher ed and in advancement is your outcomes and your key performance indicators. And so, I think working with Orr and with your team and just what's happened in the industry of higher education and advancement is, it's almost like going for your checkup. You go to the doctor and, it's not enough to say, I feel good. It's going to be, what are your key indicators of your body? And, how are you doing on your blood work? How's your breathing? How's your heart functioning? Similar to the institutions and advancement. And so really, I think there's, in a certain sense, that's where we are. And I think your team has begun to really help us to move and embrace that as a university and as an advancement staff, that, how we're doing is really related to our key performance indicators. And the story really comes out of that. It's sort of, your qualitative data really emerges from your quantitative data. What are your outcomes? And I think the other thing, I've learned and we've learned is, the relationships, the systems, the interconnectedness, all those things are sort of, the chain that has to be all part of the chain that's connected in the advancement structure and the university structure.
Well, thank you for that. And you did touch on my last question, which is, maybe the special nature that we've enjoyed as partners from Orr Group and Niagara University. You did touch on the metric piece. There's been heavy emphasis on that. We work together on that. Yeah. And I think I couldn't agree with you more as to the importance of how else do you objectively measure, this area called fundraising if you can't have specific metrics and know how you're doing. But are there any other areas of our partnership that you feel are special or unique?
Yeah.
We work together on planned giving. We work together on major gifts and campaigns and all that.
When we contracted with Orr, what I was really hoping for and what Orr has been able to help us to do as a team is look beyond the ridge and see what are the best practices out there in advancement and fundraising and relationship development. And we don't have to do exactly what others do, but customize those practices to fit at Niagara. And, I think with some of the things we've done on, premium life insurance, building the systems of accountability, events, donor preparation, I think, we've been able to really make significant strides and, not losing our identity, but really allowing ourselves to kind of be challenged to be in a bigger world. So I think the biggest thing really that the relationship with Orr has helped us to do is really see the bigger picture and see the best practices out there and really take the challenge to say, how do we bring those home and integrate that into the life of Niagara University going forward? And I think that's pretty significant. If we can all leave that as a gift to Niagara University whenever our time is up, we'll have handed something off that's really special and wonderful. And, those who will come after us can really take it forward and be given something that's really vibrant and, has a special place and meaning and makes an incredible impact on our city, our world, and the lives of the students who come and study with us.
So thanks for that. And just, coming back at you there, Father Maher, I would say it's really been a pleasure to work with a strong leader who is, does the things that are necessary, helps in the, leads the fundraising effort, leads the relationship building, has a vision for the institution as you've articulated. And that stuff goes a long, long way. And when you sit in my seat, It's just such a pleasure to work with someone of your vision and character. So I appreciate it. Thank you for the partnership, and we'll continue along and be successful as successful as we can. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. For the interview.
Thank you, Steve. Pleasure to speak
Bye.
with you.